What would you say were some of your most memorable experiences?
I went in the Air Force and was glad I did because we went from San Francisco to Yokohama in a ship traveling at 28 knots, and it took us around 14 days to go there because just outside of Japan run into a hurricane, so we had to circle around the ocean and kill some time. And in Okinawa or in Japan, it sunk some ships and killed a lot of people. And being in one of those big ships in a hurricane is a real experience. And I remember going out and looking at the port out of a porthole up around the bow, towards the bow of the ship, and a big old tail come up out of the water. It was a whale tail. I mean, we just probably narrowly missed running into a whale. Seeing a country that had been in war like Korea, and how poorly the people lived, how poor they were, was something that always stuck in my mind. How precious that food was, and to this day, and gatherings at home or wherever my family has a gathering, and to see food that's left on the plates that would go into the garbage, that people would absolutely have feasts over what we throw away. So I am a real bear cat with my grandkids, especially grandkids. But there's so much waste in our world. And just seeing all the cultures of the eastern part of the world is memorable.
When you were in the service, how did people entertain themselves?
Oh, we had airmen's clubs and stuff like that we went to. I played a lot of table tennis over there. We had Okinawa, we had swimming. Like I said, we had it really, really good over there. And then there was USO shows that would come over there. Debbie Reynolds come over. I did see her, but I didn't see her performance. I seen her get off the plane there, and she was always one of my favorite actresses. So they had entertainment for the service people over there a lot. This is where I was at Lackland Air Base. My graduating class, 6 weeks of basic training. I don't remember a lot of them. I do remember my tactical instructor, though. To this day, I remember his name, and he was really, really sharp.
Which one is you?
Oh, don't ask me that. Right there.
That's you?
That's me. Yeah, there's a large group of guys. Some of them made it through basic training, some of them didn't. Then this is a picture of my graduating class at F.E. Warren Air Base in Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Are you friends with a lot of these people?
Oh my, yes. It lasted with some of them, even after my tour of duty, but they eventually fade away, more or less.
And which one's you in this picture?
Oh my. Upper right-hand side, upper right-hand corner, just a moment. Up over here.
Were you awarded any medals or citations?
I never did get a lot of medals. I don't know what these ribbons are for, to be real honest with you. I know about everybody gets a good conduct and all that stuff, but yeah, I was awarded these, and also, which is kind of broke, but it's a sharpshooter with the M1 carbine that we had to take in basic training. I cannot remember what this is for.
Well, you won it.
yeah, I won it for some reason, but I don't remember what it was. I found that rank in the Air Force was sometimes hard to get because you had to earn it, and they had a tendency wanted to freeze ranks. When they freeze a rank, nobody can be promoted in it, and every time you get a promotion, you get a pay raise. Well, they had their way of controlling that, so that was probably one of the most disappointing things in the service. I don't know whether it's still that way or not, but I know one thing, that when I went into the service, I started out with $58.50 getting paid for it per month. And right now I've got a grandson that's always wanted to follow my footsteps, and he joined the Air Force a year ago last March, and he started out $1,400 a month. So there's quite a pay discrepancy.
Do you have a picture of your grandson?
I do at that. He graduated from Lackland like I did, and so my wife and I went down there with his parents and attended his graduation, the same place I took my basic, and I could not recognize any place on the base. They have it so nice. This is my good-looking grandson, who I'm very, very proud of, and he's stationed right now in Omaha at the Strategic Air Command at Offutt. He's about ready to go over to Qatar for a tour of duty. I'm real proud of him.
What was the highest rank you achieved?
Airman First Class, which is one class under a staff sergeant.
Is that pretty good?
Yeah, it's a good rank. Yeah, you don't really get many privileges, but when you become a staff sergeant, and that's when you get quite a few privileges, like you get to eat with. I can't say a better class airman, but you get eating privileges, eating in smaller groups and stuff like that.
Do you recall the day of that your service ended?
Well, I was stationed, from Okinawa. I went to the Air Defense Command in Albuquerque, New Mexico. The 93rd Fighter Bomber Squadron, which we had F-94 fighter interceptors, and they had the big afterburner on the back of them, on the back of the plane, and those pilots, when they take off, and then they would kick that afterburner in, it just shake the world more or less. They go boom, and they would go up about 45 degrees, and they really got your attention when they kicked that afterburner in, and then the flame would just shoot out the back of it. But that was my last tour of duty, doing the same thing that I was trained to do in the ground power part of it. And I actually was offered a deal. If I wanted to stay or get out 100 days early, I could, or they would give me staff sergeant, which is what I was trying to get later in my tour. And I took the 100 days out. So I got out 100 days early, but my final was December 15th, 1966, I believe it was.
What did you do once you got out?
Come home, went to work as a mechanic, and went on the GI Bill a little bit. I started working for a Ford tractor outfit in Aurora, Marines Farm Equipment, and then I went in to work for Chevrolet dealership here, Newlun Motors, and then eventually I went into filling station, operated 2 different filling stations, and then I went on my own Tom's Used Cars in Aurora, of which I retired after 38 years in the business.
Would you say that your military experience influenced your thinking about war, about the military in general?
Well, I totally respect anybody that serves. It's a real dedication and sacrifice. It's needed, especially in the world today where there's so much conflict. Well, I just appreciate the experiences that I had in the service and see the different cultures and how they lived, because you couldn't do it on your own. So the service is good for some people, and I'd recommend going into the service to mature, to anybody that didn't know what they wanted to do in life, because you see so much, and a lot of times that's the only way you're going to see the world is by joining the service. It's an honorable profession. But I'd still recommend the Air Force. They feed you so well.
Would you say the food was one of your favorite things about serving?
Oh, my yes. They used to joke about how bad the food was, but I loved it. I loved it, I tell you. And my last duty station there in Albuquerque, I mean, they'd fix you a steak like this, and they'd ask you how you wanted it. Air Force, you eat like kings. Yeah, I'd recommend it anyway.